Good morning, children. Let's start with the NCERT chapter of Geography, chapter 2, Land, Soil, Water, Natural Vegetation, and Wildlife Resources. Children, land resources. Basically, this chapter focus about the various resources. So you land, soil, water, natural vegetation, and wildlife. As we had tried to understand various resources, as resources are being something which is usable for human being, and how do we conserve it and protect it in is important. Now, the first resource that we're talking of today is land. If we work around the land area on the globe, you can say 3/4 is water and nearly 1/4 is the total area on the globe is land. Out of this 1/4 area that is land present, 90% population, only 30% of the land area, nearly 70% of the land area is not habitated. So it is in the form of either very hot desert or frozen land or the Antarctica. So 70% of the land area is not habitated, only 30% of the total earth is land, and of that again in 30% you have 90% population reside. So what are the basic areas under the land resources? We understand a desert, forest, water bodies, plains and rivers. Now the land that is available is useful for various purposes. So I can say one some of them do agriculture on. There are mining activities, forest activities, building houses, roads, so on. All that we see on land in our day to day life. However, there are various factors which determine the land and the quality and the use. We can either classify those either physical factors or human factors. When we say human, there are two primary things that comes into the play. The first is the population, the second is the technology. So based on the technology available in a region or feasibility of technology is more important rather than availability. So when you have technology feasible particularly area or particular region, you have human factors that come into play, and that you might have construction of bridges, tunnels, air force, more human inventions can take place. However, the basic soil quality, climate and the water conditions are the prerequisite to determine what kind of activity can flourish that area. Now again, we can classify land either private, owned land, example house built. However, there are common resources, example government garden, roadways or the basic amenities that we use. So those are community owned or community is responsible for those, and such resource known as the common property resources. We also call them as CPR. CPR has an important terminology in recent days. Weather has been more focused on betterment and improvement of the common property resources that exist, and funding for these properties resources comes from the local body. Let's say, for example, municipal corporation of a city would work for the common property of that region. Similarly, for the village area, panchayat would look after it. Now, what are the basic threat or the basic hazard that a land resource may face? First, a deforestation or degradation of the land. Now, if you have a forest area or an agriculture area, there is a rapid deforestation. It would definitely affect the land quality, because under next rainy season, what would happen in all the soil rich would wash away, so you would have decrease in the fertility of the soil that would be witnessed. So deforestation, degradation of land, this could be either due to mining activity, industrial activity. In the hilly areas you have landslide problems of the soil erosion, and situated again by deforestation activities and desertification, the sum of the major issues that we need to look into it. Conservation of land resources. Now we have came for conservation. The land deforestation is the major problem. What is the solution? Solution would be planting more of trees. Then we say land degradation problem. How can we work around it? We can reclaim the land. So land reclamation is again important. Limited use of pesticides and fertilizers which are chemical made, not organic one, so that chemically made pesticides fertilizer should be regulated, and the region where there is overgrazing by animals, that should be checked, because overgrazing again leads to the barren field. So this was the first resource, that is land, threats to land and the conservation. Landslide case study. Again, in the land, you have case study of landslide that is mentioned in your textbook, that is near Rekong Pio in Kinnaur district of Himachal Pradesh. And what happened was, there was a severe landslide which damaged the National Highway 22 and Hindustan Tibet Road. So there have been episode of landslide, and mitigation of the landslide is important. How to write measure for specifically for landslide, because when it comes for the floods or drought, it is easy to explain. When it comes to landslide, people do not have much argument for it. The major things for mitigation of landslides are increasing the vegetation cover, that will help the binding of the soil, the root of the soil, the flow or rock fall will decrease. Then you can have retention wall could be built up and would prevent the sliding of the rocks and the debris downside. Then mapping of hazard, that can be done by the either of geographical information system or remote sensing technique. You could have areas which could be low down for the reason which are more prone to landslide, and the preventive measures taken in those areas and development could be assured in the specific channelization. The next is surface draining control work. The drainage that work on the surface rather important aspect. The leaf that led to increase in the landslide. So controlling the flow of river and passage of water is another important aspect when we talk about mitigation of landslide. So till here I conclude. In the next video lecture continue with the remaining topic. So then till then, goodbye, have a nice day.